think we're running now. See if you can check. You can hear me. Can I hear me? Yeah, I guess I can. Let me turn my headphones up a little bit. Check. Oh yeah, now I can. All right. Then I just have to go over here so I can see the streamage. It sound okay? Good volume. Feels like it's a touch low. I'm gonna turn that up just a hair. I think that's a little better. That better? Is that too loud now? Actually, that might have been too loud. Jesus. It's back. Hey, he's up, he's down. What's up, Ron? I see Quentin and Mitch and Mel and Cinero. What's up, dude? All the regulars are here. Caleb, Vintage Vinyl. Of course. Terry, of course. My MVP. I see Whip and Joseph and Marwan and Michael and Rob and Bruce and Guitar Techs and Nihilus. Pork Chop, JC, Ben, what's up, buddy? Cran, Steve, Peter Dunbar, what's up, Peter, man? R2, R3, of course. All the regulars, Mitch, Don, Mark, where's Kurt? Mark, again, another Mark. Hey, Steve, ever do fake harmonics? You mean like that? Algeria, what's up, buddy? Who was that? That was D harmonic. What's up, Buddy Bishop, Thomas Bolland, and Robert Collins, and Peter Dunbar again. And what's up, Brian? Brian Spilstead. What's up, buddy? Virginia Beach. See Don, Brian, a whole bunch of people. What's up, dudes? What's up, dudes? Weather, raining in New York. Yeah, it's raining here too. You know, and I almost put down a little bit of like fertilizer for the grass that has to be watered in. If it's not put down right before rain, you have to water it in by hand, or it's a little dangerous. And I was like, I don't think it's going to be enough water. And of course, it's been plenty of rain. I should have just put it down. What was I thinking? What's up, Bruce? What's up, Habs 247? What's up, JK from Kentucky? Yo, J-Man. Oh, pinch harmonic. Yeah, I can do them. I've been known. Upstroke. There's a parlor trick for you. Anyone can do them down. How about up? God, that whole lawn thing, man. Am I right? Right, Whip? It's like you're stuck in like the whole thing. It just sucks you right in, because if you don't, your lawn will look like crap. Nature just takes over and just lays a beating down on it real fast. It's like constant upkeep, or it just all goes to crap, you know. What's up, David? And Danny from Arizona. What's up, buddy? Blank palette. Hugh from Scotland. 44 Scoots. What's up, buddy? Yeah, the upstroke one, right? No one ever sees that one coming. It's like, no unexpected upstroke harmonics. Oh, that's hot. That is hot coffee. Yeah, and then your neighbors give you the look exactly like, you doing something about that, bro? Noticing a little bit of clover breaking out in that front quadrant. You're like, yeah, it's on my to-do list. I just did lay a massive beating down on the insects out there, though. I use that bifenthrin. Oh, this stuff is just amazing. And you know what? It's crazy tick season here, and I got 2 cats. And I find when I put that bifenthrin down, at just the right places, and you got to do it when the cats are in the house, and you got to let it dry and all that. It is a little toxic until it dries. But once it dries, it's fine for pets and everybody else. And God, it just puts a beating down on not just ticks, but mosquitoes too. Steve, how was the Dallas Guitar Show? The Dallas Guitar Show was awesome. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was a little quiet on Friday. It was really busy on Saturday, and I wasn't there on Sunday. I flew back Sunday, so I don't know if Sunday was a busy. I'm assuming it was busier because it seems like the type of event that people go. It's open to the public. You know, that people say, I'm going to drive down and go to the Dallas Guitar Show. And I have to say, it was a great event. You know, I just flew in, and they have quite a highway system there, so getting around was actually pretty easy. And you know, my hotel was like 15 minutes from the airport, and that was 15 minutes from the show. So, I mean, really, it was. It was. I just Ubered it everywhere. Every Uber was like $9 to $10. It just zip over here, zip over there. It was great. And I met up with Robert Baker and the guys from Rev and Vola. And we met at like their hotel, and then we would just carpool over to the show. And it's an interesting show in that there's a lot of live performances. With NAMM, all the live performances are outside. This one, there were some inside in large halls and some were outside. One day it was really pouring rain, so there was no outside, I think, that day. The shows got canceled. There's a mix. See, the NAMM show is all new stuff. It's all brand new stuff. This was a mix. As if you looked on my social media, you could see it was a mix of vintage. The $50,000 62 Strat, as I posted up there. It's nice if you can afford it, but that was a little pricey. We ran into Norm from Norm's Rare Guitars on Friday. He was there on day one, and I think I ran into him, Robert Baker, and I think he told us he'd already bought like 2 or 3 guitars. So he likes to get there early, run over things really quickly, and see what he can find that he's interested in. And he's got the purchasing power. He might be able to bundle, save a little bit of money. There were a lot of stores there that show up that just show their stock, and they bring like their top of the line stock. So there's like Paul Reed Smith, like private stock, $18,000 guitars. They're looking to show off their place. There were people that just had very much like a flea market, their own invention. This was where it's a little bit closer to NAMM, except probably a lot cheaper for them to get a table. And you can make a sale. Sales are allowed. See, there's no sales at NAMM. NAMM is really just a straight-up trade show. This was not a trade show. It was the guitar show. Greg Koch was there walking around. Paul Reed Smith was there walking around, talking to everybody. He was a super nice dude. We seemed to be in a better mood than he was at NAMM. And then the Seymour Duncan, was there just walking around talking to everybody. Super nice guy. I would say he was even more accessible at the Dallas Guitar Show than he is at NAMM, where he tends to be a little bit more behind the scenes. and part of like planned events than just hanging out at the booth, you know. And Eric Johnson was there just walking around. He had a police escort. He had a couple of, you know, security guys with him. But he walked through the whole event, it seemed, just checking out. And he was also playing there. So, you know, it was cool. Jared James Nichols played, and Greg Koch was there, so he joined him on stage at one point. That was a really, you know, doing rock and roll hoochie coo and Funk 49. Just think about that, right? Because Jared James Nichols is a pretty damn good singer. And so he was belting out the tunes, and Greg was good. So, Dallas Guitar Show. Pretty awesome. All right. I did see Eric Johnson. He walked by me. It's so funny because I was all like, I didn't see him play. We wound up going to get, you know, we getting dinner every night because there wasn't a ton to eat there. You know, the food there's really overpriced and underpowered, if you know what I'm saying, like cheese whiz over nachos. I didn't get any of that. Like, gross. But that night, you know, you get pretty hungry. I think during the day they went out to, is it Whataburger? Yeah, it's okay. It was nothing to write home about. It was nondescript. You know, and then at night we went out and got killer barbecue. We went to Hard 8 one night, which is a little bit more of a drive, and then one was more downtown, and that was called Pecan Lodge. And they were both damn good. Damn good. Thoughts on the katanas? I'll know next week. I think Roland Boss is at the Thomann event. And I'll get a chance to try them out a little bit more. Those little mini katanas are like amazing. Like the ultimate little practice amp, it seems. And the katana, like 100s, they get rave reviews. Everyone out there, they're very short money, and everyone seems to love them. So. Nobody still put down my back. Not this time. Came close, so they tried. But I was too elusive. My ninja moves. Yeah, Greg Koch was there. He was hanging out in the Fishman booth. And he was just walking around. And, you know, Greg Koch's a funny guy because one time he walked by and went, Greg, and he turned around and went, he did this like thing, and like walked off. I was like, I wish I had a camera out for that. That was, what the hell are you doing? You know, he's just goofballing. He was, and it was before the show opened, I think. So maybe that was, he felt a little bit more, I don't know, free to do it. I was laughing. You've got to hit Frankfurt, Maine, walk around and go to the big beer places, big beerist places, the best beerist places, the best beer, biggest, bestest beerist places ever. Yeah. I'm down. I hear Germany has good beer. That's the rumor. And certainly the last time I was there, it was pretty damn good. So, yeah, sure. Sounds great. Yeah, Greg Koch does have some chops. Damn. The hell was that? Nobody knows. Germans know their beer. Yeah, they know lagers. They're a big lager. Big into the lagers and the pilsners. I'd say ale is more of a British thing. Trying to read these are. It's actually the monitor is a little far away, so the. You know what I should do? I should just go here and I can with the mouse just boost it up. Like 110, 120. Yeah, now I can read the writing. It's just a small writing. And it's just so far away. Oh, I can read it much better now. Oh, damn. What's up, Double R Guitar? Feels a little loud. Someone said, what price would you recommend for the Ibanez you're holding in the UK? You know, it's hard to say because, you know, when they're old, you don't know how much they've traveled around the world. I know in the US, you know, you can see these on the used market. The low end would be like $3 to $350, and you know, some dreamer on Reverb or on eBay might be asking for like $800 or $900 or maybe even $1,000 in like mint condition, and never get it. The ad will sit up there for like 2 years. But yeah, you know, if you look at the completed items on eBay, you can get a good feel of what people are actually willing to pay for it. It's usually where I start. See, you know, what was actually somebody willing to pull the trigger and actually pay and you know, get the guitar. And this one, you know, is in particularly good shape because it came with good bones, and I put new pickups and new hardware down here on it. Everything else is original electronics, knobs. I think the original knobs. You know, this might have had witch hat knobs, and these are replacements. Very well could be. Original tuning pegs. It does have a little crack down the side, but it's not going anywhere. I filled it in with some super glue and polished it up. Feels pretty stable. You know, but it's hard to say. You know, the used market is so odd on these. Again, the low end, I'm saying $300 to $350. I have no idea what that is in pounds. Probably like $250. You know, $2.25. Is that a lawsuit, Ibanez? Technically, yes and no. The body is still a lawsuit style body. They didn't change that, I think, for 2 more years. This is, I think, a 76. And I want to say in 70, and so in 75, it had the old headstock with the diamond in the book, right, the top. And Gibson was like, we don't like the blah, blah, blah. They complained, we don't like the headstock, blah, 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 and all this stuff. They said, sure. And then they changed it, this headstock, but they left the body the same shape. And then Gibson came back and was like, no, body two. And that's when they changed the shape. It goes up and curves down a little bit. They made a wave. Was that the P series or the PF series? Something like that. They just changed the style of the body. And they made a double cutaway. That was the artist. That was another way to try to get around it. That was the birth of, a lot of those double cutaways that they did just to get around the Les Paul problem they had with Gibson. So, in Japan, as it turns out, Gibson, sued over a bunch of the copyright trademark stuff for their iconic shapes. I think the Les Paul and the SG, and they lost. So that's like the one market where you can get legit copies, like by Fujigen and Edwards and stuff like that, where they're, pretty similar. They don't say Gibson on them, of course, that they, it's the shape. It's the shape. And, but other than that, that's like the only market where they're really out. Legitimately, anyway. Steve, how are you? If you could buy an electric guitar under $300, what would it be? Well, I can tell you, if you look hard enough, you can find sometimes a Mexi Strat. I think they're pretty good. I think the classic Vibe Strats you can usually find for $300 and under. Those are really good. Classic Vibe Tellys are really good. You can get a guitar like one of these, right? Sometimes if they're in sort of beat up condition, I think every single one of these guitars was around $300. This well, you can't see this one, but It's an RG 760 or 550, 560. I think I paid $260 for that one and $249 for the blue one back there. Those are all Ibanez. I bought them all used. So, no, they're out there. They're out there. It's a brand new guitar. I think, the Squires are really good. I'm trying to think in that low-end market. Those Harley Benton's pretty damn good. They're short money, too. You'll have a lot of money left over. You can get two of them. Yeah, how is my volume? It feels okay. I'm just checking the meter here. Oh, China Guitar Skeptic, what's up, buddy? Steve, what strings and thickness do you use? Lately, I've been doing a lot more with 10s and 11s. This feels like 10s. I guess that feels like 10s all day long. I recently picked up a guitar that had 9s, and I was like, whoa. Forget how thin they feel. So much easier to play. But I like that. I think I like the tone I get out of like a 10 or an 11 a little bit better. It's a little beefier, not quite as jangly, but it also depends on the scale. A little bit thicker on the shorter scale, and a little bit maybe lighter on the longer scale. Steve, what was the last album you purchased? Toby Arrives by the Cock Marshall Trio. That's the last one I bought. That came out in might have been October, I think. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was in the fall. And I pre-ordered it so early, Then all of a sudden something shows up. What the hell is this? Oh, that's right. I pre-ordered a CD. Like before they even cut it, All right. And it's signed by them, It's a great disc. I really dig it. What's up, Dry Heat? Do you tune down to E flat? Yeah, this guitar here is E flat. This Prestige in front of me. This is E, I'm pretty sure. I got a Dan Electro right there. Is that E? Yep, that's E too. Steve Revons, didn't he play 11s? Yeah, easily. He might have played like 12s or 13s. That guy was crazy with the string thickness. You just like going to places that people don't know who John Coltrane is? No, because you can't hold people to know everything about everything. You know how that goes. So you hope they know about John Coltrane. You hope that they look that guy up, but becomes the farther away we get from him, being a thing, the more selective the group seems to get for whatever reason. Hi, Steve. Any comment on the production value, on the dollar value of production fall guitars, such as an incorrect headstock label? That's so weird, because sometimes, right, you think to like stamps or coins, right? That drives the price way up. But that's the government, who's supposed to like not ever make a mistake, and the mistakes are extremely rare. But a manufacturer mistake, they used to just stamp an S on the back or the word second and just throw it out as a second when it was an incorrect thing. Charge you a little bit less. Of course, that ended completely. When's the last time you saw an S or a second out on the market? That seems to have ended in sort of like the mid-90s. And then after that, it was just like, oh, well. But, yeah, it's hard to tell with that, because if it's just a finish thing, You know, does it make it more valuable or less valuable? I don't know. I guess it's like, how often is the mistake made? I want to say on a guitar, I'm leaning towards less valuable, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. It'd be interesting to see what other people think. What do you think the possibility of Chapman moving back to Korea for production of the whole Chapman line? You know, I've heard been some grumbles about that. Have they not been happy with the Indonesian stuff? Is that what's going on? The stuff I checked out at NAMM all seemed pretty nice, but that guitar I had here was amazingly nice. That was real nice. You know, but that was made in Korea. That was from the Korean factory. It was a pro line. You know, I don't know. I think that, you know, like any business, they're going to try and get the place that has the most consistent and best production they can get for their dollar, because it's just less headache in the long run. If you're always dealing with warranty repairs, it's just so much of a headache. So you really do want to have good production so you can keep warranty repair to a minimum. That is business 101. So, you know, if they feel in their, you know, metrics, and we don't know what they are, that it would be a, you know, a sound business decision to just consolidate everything to Korea, then they'll do it. But maybe they'll find another Indonesian plant. They could maybe find a Chinese plant. You know, they could find some other plant that could do the job, you know, within the working parameters, right? Certain level of quality at a certain price point. And if they can do it, then they should do it. Like, why not? What's up, Earth Skills? Yeah, lots of comments tonight. You know, I should talk about, let me call it up on the old Computertron here. Computerometer. Don't mind me, I'm a motorist. Alright, here we go. Right here, Gmail. Pish push, ba flimshaw. We're gonna go to, I think I want to do social. Yeah, social. And then we'll call up, is it this one? Is it this one? Yeah. I'm just looking up who's gonna be at this event, at this, Thomann event. Bought a Q's of 127 because of you. It's nice, right? All right, so here we go. We got. I'm just looking at some of the manufacturers that are going to be here at the, you know, at the Thomann event. So the people are going to be there, like Adam Neely, Music is Win, Sarah Longfield, Pedal Show, Pete Cottrell, Spectre Sound, HP42, Robert Baker, Mary Spender, Bass the World, me, CS Guitars, Guitar Gods, Agufish, Patrick Hunter, Harry and Guitar, Jay Leonard J, Flip the Q, Guitar Bonito, Nick in the Stage, who I found out recently I don't think is going. 60 Cycle Hum, Max Solo Music, Cat Pick Studios, The Guitar Geek Studio, Chimiel, Chimiel, German Music Reviews, The Pedal Zone, and the Berkeley Gear Club. And then the gear people who are going to be there. This is really what I want to talk about. What's up, Bubba? Thanks, buddy. See, you guys are coming from Finland, Canada. My grandfather is from Moncton. What would you suggest be a good set of replacement pickups for a Sterling Silhouette HSS? Oh, well, That's a good question. I do like the HSS EMG set, but not everybody likes that. I know not everybody likes EMGs, but I do like the 89 SA series. You know, if you wanted to go active, but I get it if you don't like that. I hear you. Not everybody is thrilled with active pickups. So moving on to a passive set, you know, I might do something like you could do a Duncan set with like a JB and like a custom stack. You know, if you want to keep it all quiet, you could go with something maybe a little bit more vintage, like a 59 in some of the classic stacks, right? Like a vintage stack, if you wanted to keep it clean. Or you could just go with their straight up vintage staggered pole. But if you're going to go that, you might just get a Fender, you know, if you go on HSS, because they make one of the more Fendery sounding Fender pickups. I'll give them that. Who else? DiMarzio. I like the Tone Zone. These are the Super Distortions. I like these. That's a heavy pickup, though. You might get more, you know, the versatility out of a Tone Zone. And then I like not the Area 50, it's the Area 51? Or I forget their stack. It's whatever, it's whatever Yngwie was using, right? It's sort of a vintage stack. Again, it's humless, and I really like the sound of those. Every time Bobby has them in a couple of guitars, and every time he comes over, I'm like in love with those single coils. I think that's one of the best neck and middle pickups out there. I can't think. It's whatever the Yngwie set, but he's no longer with DiMarzio. He's over with Duncan. But I like the DiMarzio version of him better. Sorry, Duncan. You know. So at the Tegu event, the two big brands are going to be Ibanez and Hughes and Kettner, who I happen to have right here. There's your Ibanez and Hughes and Kettner right there. Morgan, like who should I be checking out here? Morgan, I should be checking out their amps, right? Right? Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Ortega guitars, I know they're killer. Acoustic nylon string. Synergy is going to be there. That's the plug people, right? They plug the amps, Synergy amps, right? They're a modular style amp. Roto Sound, Orange amps. I've heard of them. Mad Professor, Rev. I've heard of them. I've heard of all these places, actually. Blue Guitar, maybe not them. Just kidding. Roland Boss, Mark Bass, that's awesome. PRS will be there. DB Mark will be there. Ollie Benton will be there. Sandberg, Laney, Ashdown, Strandberg. I think it's Eich or Ike, E-I-C-H, Line 6, LaFay, MacMull, Isotope, who are killer. Isotope, they've been around forever. Their, is it Ozone product? Is killer. And then Dan Electro and Stone Death, which I think they're a pedal maker. They make the pedals. And the thing is like it's out in the middle of friggin' nowhere. All right, hold on, I gotta check these. Guys are going fast. A lot of comments tonight. People are right about that. Damn, I love Orange. So I'm hearing a lot of votes. I'm seeing a couple people saying definitely check out Orange. I'm seeing a bunch of are they oranges in a row? It's 2 votes for Orange. I want to go to see Roland and Boss and check out a couple of Boss pedals. They have some reimaginings of like classic pedals. We should check out the old and the new. I don't think Ampeg is going to be there. Ampeg was just bought by Yamaha. So Line 6 will be there, but I don't see Ampeg on the list. I do see Mark Bass and DB Mark and Laney and Line 6 and Orange and Rev and Morgan and Synergy and Hughes and Kettner and Ibanez. Any DV Marks there? Let me check. Yes. DV Mark will be there. It's feels out. Area 51, yeah. I want the new Boss HM2. I'm telling you, it feels like a video could be made with the Boss Heavy Metal, right? Isn't that kind of got to happen, right? I don't like orange looks. Like some cute found parts kind of slapping together. I think orange looks cool, and I like when Jimmy Page uses orange. He clearly doesn't have an endorsement with orange, so he just puts a piece of white tape over the A in the end, and it spells orgy. He's like, yeah, if you want to see the real name, gotta come up with a couple of pounds sterling my way. We were able to have some steak and some barbecue in Dallas. No steak, but I did have some killer barbecue. It was really good barbecue. And, it's always like almost like a prefix, right? Where you just get, the first place we went was by the pound. And then the second place we went, we got it's basically like a dinner for like feeds 3 to 5 adults. And that's what we had, 4 adults. So, it was perfect. It's funny because when you first get it, the first night we went, we walked out. I'm like, that's all you got for food for like 4 guys. Like, that doesn't look like a lot. And man, we were stuffed, dude. It's like that sits fast real quick. That's a fill up type meal. You know, that brisket was killer though. I would say I like the sausage better the first night. They had the poppers, which are like jalapeno and chicken and bacon wrapped up. And then the second night, I want to say the brisket was really good. I would say a little bit more tender than the first night. They were both really good, but I would say the second night's just, let me give it a slight edge. At the Pecan Lodge over Hard 8, but try them out both. Try them out. Steve, hearing your riffs on it, break out the new telly I brought the other day. Break it out, bro. Absolutely. You know, nice new telly. I haven't actually played my Fenders in a little bit. I have them across the room. I've been, as you saw with the video with Martin Miller, in his honor, I put up all Ibanez guitars, so I have all the, the other stuff off and over across the room. But yeah, I go through phases, right? I went through a phase where I was playing just the Chapman and the Dan Electro for a while, and then I was playing that Harley Benton for a little bit, and lately I've been playing just because I pulled them out. It's almost like you're rediscovering your own guitars, right? If you have enough guitars, you can pull one out after so many months and go like, you get a little nostalgic, like, oh right, God, I love this guitar. Gary, man, I will absolutely have a beer in your honor. I will absolutely, because I think that's the one thing they don't cover. They don't cover it. They wisely, I think, don't cover alcohol. But yeah, man, I will have a beer in your honor. It'll be good. I was in the blues here. Steve, how many guitars do you have total? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. It's got to be, I think it's around 30. If you count like acoustics and beaters and guitars that are in partial states of disrepair, right? Like working guitars is probably 10 less than that. Hi, Steve. Do you think there will be any change in the used value of Gibson items? They've always been a nose-loose proposition. Will that change? That is a great question. It really depends on how they come out of this. So, like, I think that the brand is in financial trouble. They're not in and they're in a little bit of quality control trouble. I'm not going to defend their quality control, right? But their quality control wasn't as bad as Fender when they were at their lowest, and like I think the late 70s, early 80s. They had, they had guitars where the paint was just falling off the guitar. Their first 25th anniversary model pretty much had to be recalled because the paint just chipped and fell off the thing. So, and that was their anniversary model. I mean, how embarrassing. So, their Fender, the Strat, had the wrong size headstock. I mean, it was just blunder after blunder after blunder for years. They were cutting corners all over the place. And their brand had a problem back then. Right, they had to really rehabilitate the brand. Gibson, while they certainly aren't, gaining any, I think, new people with reverse Vs and that stupid V they just came out with that a lot of people just didn't like. They do their best when they stick with their vintage stuff. That seems to be really their market. But one of the things that came out in the filing, because they have to ask a judge, let us emerge. Don't liquidate us. Don't convert us to a 7. There can be an involuntary conversion to 7 if the court doesn't believe you can emerge from a reorganization. It's not, you don't get to just walk away from that. There's going to be a resolution. So, they pointed out that they have a 40% market share of the over $2,000 guitar market. That's a breathtaking share, okay? It's hard to, like, Apple probably has less than 40% of the cellular phone market. Right? In terms, that pie gets sliced up because there's so many players in it. There's so many players. To have 40%, that is a stunning number, and that's why I think they can emerge. And if they emerge with good quality control, I think their prices stay intact. Maybe even go up. But here's the thing: if they come out and they're going to be like a high-end boutique instrument, and forget the over 2,000 market. Are they over 3,000? Are they over 3,500? You really start to get to the fringe of what the real market is, and I think the real market is between, like $500 and like $2,500, and so they're on the high end of that. But if they start creeping up even more, no matter how good their quality is, it may be a tough sell. So, I think Gibson's going to emerge from it, and I think they're going to try and keep it as business as usual. The company, everyone's like, is Joe Bonamassa going to buy it? The company was already sold. It was sold the day they filed the bankruptcy. It was sold to the investors, and they hired back on, what's his name there? Henry is a consultant. He gets a $2.1 million single 1 year salary, which is nice work if you can find it, and a 2.25 stock warrant, which is a 2.25% stock warrant, which is good for 5 years. That's actually a pretty decent little stock offering too. That could really be worth something to him. And it's new stock that's going to be issued. So that's a sweet plum. That's a nice little golden parachute for somebody who a lot of people think expanded the company too fast. It's a classic story. They expanded too fast, they couldn't pay their bills, and now they have to go through bankruptcy to sell off the parts that are unprofitable. And that's exactly what happened. Remember, the day before they filed Chapter 11, they filed Chapter 7 in 8 different countries with their version of bankruptcy in 8 different foreign nations to basically say all these foreign holdings, all these foreign, they're gone. And that's under the Gibson Innovations brands. Right, so Gibson brands, and under that is Gibson Instruments. That's like Gibson, Epiphone, Slingerland, Dobro, Kramer. There's one more. There's a couple more. Tobias, I think. There's a few, right? So that's all under Gibson Instruments. That's what they're trying to keep. And to keep it, they're bringing in $135 million in basically angel financing from investors. Henry gives up all his stock and gets a $2.1 million golden parachute. And there's new owners, which is basically about a half a dozen, maybe 4 major players, but about a half a dozen investment firms own the company now. And they're going to sell and wind down and liquidate everything under Gibson Innovations, headphones, speakers, things like that. Now, what happens with TIAC? Probably sold. I don't know that that's going to keep around. They already sold Cakewalk. That's owned by BandLab now, and you can get sonar for free, as I understand it. So, you know, I think they're trying to just keep the main part, which is Gibson instruments, intact at the expense of all other products. And that's a smart strategy. So I think for Gibson guitar owners, you know, it's a pretty good strategy because I think in the long term, again, if their market share was crushed, if they were like really just lagging behind everyone else, it's like BlackBerry. Yeah, you're gonna come up, but where are you going? You had it. It's gone. It's hard to like get back in there. They're still in it. Today they have 40% of that market. So, you know, they're still a player. That's a nice little line to put down in a bankruptcy filing to say, this is why Your Honor, this is why we can emerge. We can emerge because we have sales. Guitar sales are up. They're up 11% from the prior year, January 18 versus January 17. Sales are up 11%. You know, we have angel funding, $135 million. We're selling off our old liquidated companies. We're selling off our Chapter 7 companies abroad by liquidating them and getting rid of everything under Gibson Innovations. We're streamlining the company. And, you know, the guy who drove it into the ground is only here for 1 more year. That's how they're going to emerge from this bankruptcy. Oh. Now, the worst thing Gibson, someone said, I don't think they should move to overseas. The worst thing Gibson could do is to go away and not become a USA-made company. That would be like Harley Davidson becoming an import company, okay? There's a certain cachet that goes along with being an old, ingrained American company, right? We could debate the merits of that, but the fact is that it's real. So leverage it. What's your rig tonight? TH3 Real M. TH3, I'm just about to get this going here. I can have it turned on right now because I have it running through a little speaker down below, so I can, and I actually have the speaker turned off on it right now, and all the volume stacks that I wanted to create heat. But I thought it looked cool in the background. I like to turn it on, and but I was playing through that the other day. I have 2 Panama cabs or 3 Panama cabs. The third time's the charm. The first 2, it did not sound good, and I've heard it through the Hughes and Kettner cabs, so I know it sounds great. But through those first 2 Panama cabs, I thought it sounded just okay. It was missing a little bit of tie-in, but the third Panama cab, it actually sounded okay. Wasn't too bad. So I've been playing it through that a little bit, but I'm just really going to get it going with the, if I can reach it, with one of these right here, the cap door, and then I'll just run it through my rig here and just do a digital speaker, which is like, that's about as accurate as you can get without using a mic, is an IR. So, just one of those. Well, Ben's saying he's gone after a year, unless they renew his contract. Right? It's a private company; they can do whatever the hell they want. And if they feel like they can bring him back, they will. But the reality is he doesn't have any power anymore. That's the key. He's no longer running the business as far as I can see. He's just a consultant with other people making the final decision about the day-to-day operations. Steve, what do you think of Diamond Guitars? I have one. I really like it. It's a different design, and I give him hats off for that. It's sort of like a 3D Firebird style that I really like. Without the Firebird headstock, it's a 300-side headstock. I really like that guitar. And it comes with some nice Duncan pickups in it that I think go a long way. And giving the guitar for short value a lot of tone. Really sounds good right out of the box. I wonder if Gibson Brands, someone says Gibson Brands lists Cakewalk as one of their companies under Chapter 11. I wonder if they do it because they only sold Sonar. Did they sell all of Cakewalk? Maybe they just sold the Sonar package? I don't know. I'm just guessing, right? So maybe there's some other intellectual property left over from Cakewalk that they still list. I'm guessing. Or at the time they filled it out, they just had it, and then since then they can just update, they can amend their statement of finances and say, like, this was sold and it was sold for X amount, and that's going back into the the firm. I don't know. Thoughts on Gibson staying in the U.S. but also opening a factory in Japan like Fender? Well, they did have one, I thought, in Japan, right, for a little bit under the Epiphone brand, and then it quickly went to Korea, and now it's in China. So they've done this under the Epiphone brand. They're never going to do it under the Gibson brand. I think if they did that, it would dilute the brand a bit too much. I think there's some premium and exclusivity you can get by making that brand a USA only thing, and quite frankly, opening it up so you can use woods like rosewood, because you don't have to ship it internationally. Once you open up in another country, you really have to think about the woods you're going to use because of international shipping. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle rosewood with Epiphone. There's a product that uses a lot of rosewood. Fender's getting around it by switching to maple and pau ferro and ebony. I don't know what Gibson's going to do, but they're going to have to address that at some point, because their guitars, I think everybody knows, are primarily rosewood and ebony. All right, they're not like Fender that has a huge maple line. They're pretty much a rosewood company, and be interesting to see the stats. I got to think it's like 70-30 rosewood to ebony, maybe even higher. What about Orville? So Japan's a funny place because, like I think I had mentioned it earlier, they're one of the few places. Thanks, Clay. They're one of the few places that they threw out Gibson's claim for shape. Like they say, well, you can't put Gibson on it. We'll give you that. But if they can make the headstock and they can make the body look exactly like it and use their own name, and it does not violate you sat on your rights too long, I think is what they said. They waited too long. They waived it. Was, I think, how the case went down. And so that's one of the few markets you can do it, but it can't leave that market. And Gibson has been like, they put a stranglehold on that. That's why if you want one, you have to buy one off of like Meester Sparkle from eBay and pay $130 to have it shipped to the U.S. Don't mention rosewood. Slowly I turned, right? It's Niagara Falls. Yeah, so they used Richlight. Someone's mentioning Richlight. They used Richlight on their prior ebony stuff. And quite frankly, after their debacle there with the government, they could have gone back to ebony. They just were pissed. They took their ball and went home. So they stuck with the Richlight as far as I could tell. But you know what had a Richlight fingerboard was is it, begins with a C, I think. Oh, no, N-A, Aristides. Aristides. Ditties. It's, yeah, Aristides. Composite guitar with a Richlight fingerboard. I liked it. I tried it at both NAMM and the Dallas Guitar Show. Clay says, have you tried Nick Johnson's new Indo signature? I have not. I've only tried this really expensive one at the NAMM show, and not this past NAMM show, the NAMM show before that, which is great. It's got a thick neck on it, though. He likes a beefier neck. He's got huge hands. You can see why he wants the larger neck on it, to keep the hand from cramping. But it might be a touch big for my liking. I wonder if his Indo one is a little bit more, light on the thickness, a little bit thinner, just to appeal to a wider audience. I have no idea. Is Richlight pretty much the same as Rosacer baked maple? No, baked maple is wood. Richlight is basically a what's it? Phenolic? How do you? My dictionary people can look it up. It's basically recycled newspaper, shredded newspaper, and various resins, epoxies and resins that the shredded newspaper gives it more of a texture feel to it, makes it look more like a paste, and then you can make it like really smooth. They use it in countertops. You can make it really glossy and smooth, but you can also make it a little rough and matte finished, and that's why people use it, because it can look a little matte, and it looks a little bit more like wood. But the closest it has to wood in it is that newspaper. Yeah, phenolic resin. Phenolic, thank you. See? Hey, Stevie paid attention a little bit. Isn't the Buckethead Sig Richlight? I have no idea. But anything that's got a square block, anything that uses an ebony fingerboard seems to have been substituted with Richlight since about 2012, and they never went back. They could have gone back in like 2014, and they were like, no, that's it. Now you're never getting ebony. It's like, okay, well now you're in bankruptcy, so maybe you should have went for the ebony back again. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying that their market is an old market that doesn't want to hear anything. Leave that to a guy like Aristides, right? Who's trying out a new concept with new materials, and the whole thing is a synthetic composite guitar. That I get. That makes a lot of sense to me. But to take a very traditional instrument like a Gibson Les Paul Custom into it, I mean, some people will be fine with it, and quite frankly, I've played it, and I was fine with it, but it's going to rub some people the wrong way. And they're going to be like, no, I really just want the wood. Why can't we just go back to wood? I mean, how can Carvin and Fender and Martin and all these other places, deal with ebony and have no problem at all? But, they just, I don't know. They never went back to it seems. Except... And check me on this. What happened was that they just said, you know what we'll do? We'll make ebony only on the yellow aged stuff that starts at $5,000 or $6,000. Is that what they did? Did they make Richlight the sort of entry level for custom stuff where unless it was an aged, then you'd be including a genuine ebony fingerboard? Or is it still the Richlight, even on the 68 reissue, right? That was one that came out in that period, I think. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that, but it feels like maybe, just maybe, that the reason why they never went back to ebony was because they just sort of differentiated that product to a higher price point. And now if you wanted ebony, which everyone seemed to want, you just had to pay a little bit more. Again, that's just pissing off your core group. Yes, I'll just build my own LP. I know what I got to build this weekend. I got to build a PC. We got a piece. My son's birthday's coming up, and he wanted a computer, so we just got the parts in. Now that I think about it, I don't think his case showed up today. This is not going to be built unless his case appears. It's dark out there now. What time is it now? It's after 8. It's 8 o'clock. Yeah, I don't. He's going to be so bummed because that means it's not going to come until Monday, and I'm leaving for our TGU on Tuesday, and you know he's going to have the sweetest computer in the house. It's like an i5 6-core, that friggin' 256 gig M.2 system drive, 1 terabyte, and then a 1050 Ti, 16 gigs of DDR4, 2300 or 2600, whatever the hell it is, and like a 600 watt power supply. So quick build, but got to do it at some point. So maybe we'll be taking a ride over to freaking Micro Center. Yeah, I know. I could do the Mobo assembly ahead of time. And I probably will, because I want to take my time and show him how I do it. And, you know, it's more of like a learning process, too, for him, so he can do his own builds in the future. So, it's like you try not to get like, all right, let's do this, and you just throw it all together real quick, because you've done it 1,000 times, and you're like, 1,001. That's what I said. Tracking number, man. See where it's at. My wife ordered it. So I'm like, check. She's like, I haven't checked the tracking number. I'm like, maybe, and this is possible, sometimes they do Sunday delivery. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that we could get a Sunday delivery, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm going Windows 10 on it. You know, I'd have to really. It's a bit of work to Hackintosh it. You have to really, really pay attention to the hardware you're using. You very often have to modify certain loading files, catch files, all that crap. And it's always a game of cat and mouse with Apple. So just go Windows. It's friggin', load and go. I rarely have a problem. So I'm running Windows 10 on all my PCs. It's been fine. What's up, Diego? Enjoyed the video with Martin. That dude seems to be a genuinely great person. He really is. He made the video a lot easier to work with. If you noticed, and I got some real positive feedback on it, I went with a much faster flow style on that video than I had in prior, which basically means less of me talking, right? Because I'm asking him a question, and all I want is, the important part is his response. So if you'll notice, a lot of the part where I actually ask him the question and go through my ridiculous, it's unnecessary, because he covers it all in the response. And so the more I started trimming it down, that was a 30-minute, 32-minute shoot. That's a 12-minute video. That's 20 minutes of that video cut out. Because it just, the flow wasn't right. And I felt like I really just plucked out like the best portions of that entire interview. And I really liked the flow. I got to say, when it finally got to the final video, I just thought it flowed a lot faster than if I had left the whole video intact, or just I had already cut it down some, and I had it down to about maybe 15 or 16 minutes or 19 minutes, and it was still dragging in spots. And I said, I'm just cutting all this right out. Martin was a cool dude. Yeah, so we hooked up a week ago. He was in town. He's like, hey, man, I'm in town. I was like, cool, yeah. I go, if you want to hook up, we'll go on a little, I'll give you a little scenic, drive of Boston. It was a beautiful, dry, and warm day. And I did the normal run I do, like I did with Shane from In the Blues. We went up to the top of Blue Hill. And then after that, his girlfriend, Martina, super, super nice. I mentioned that there was a Trillium near us, and she's like, ooh, she lit right up. She's like, Trillium? because she had heard of it because it's like this really cool brewery. And so we hit there and, got a quick afternoon brew, a post-hike brew. We went to lunch first at the Yard House, and then we went to Trillium, and then I dropped him back off. And that was that. And then I kept in touch with him. I said, hey, man, he's in town for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So I said, if you have any more time, I'd love to get you over for a video. And he's like, yeah, sure. And Martina was going to some, I think, rehearsal for school for graduation. And he was free. I said, yeah, head on over. And so he came over. We shot the video, and I had to drive him right back because, after a certain hour, it's a little tricky getting out of the city. The whole city, it's almost like everyone gets out of work at the same time. See you, Vintage Vinyl, man. Thanks for handing out. That was good editing, man. I would have liked to seen a little more play. Yeah, the playing wasn't that good. Trust me, you wanted me to cut that out. His playing was amazing. But and a couple of times he was doing something and I was so pissed at myself. I like stepped on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I accidentally made some noise or started talking when I thought he was done, but he wasn't done yet. So trust me, that was good editing. Try not to make myself look too bad. Should have taken him out to Chowder. Chowder! Did you get to play his new Ibanez? Not when he came over this time. We just didn't have the time. But I played it a ton at the NAMM show. So, yeah, it's a great guitar. That and the Tom Quayle. Those two models are both amazing. They were asking me there. They're like, so which one's better? And I'm like, pleading the fifth on that one. God, get me in trouble. I know, other drivers. The road would be so much easier if it wasn't for these other drivers. Damn it. And then there's a great line, if you've ever I was an economics major, and we did public policy. You do environmental economics, and one of it is traffic. And the great thing about traffic is traffic's only in front of you. There's no such thing as traffic behind you, because it's behind you. And it's sort of an interesting thought process about what traffic is and how it forms. I drove through Boston 10 a.m. one Sunday morning, flew right through the bed. Yeah, see, that's the time to go. And when I went in to get him, no problem at all. Flew right in, right? In fact, I was like, I texted him. I said, I know I'm a little bit early. He's like, oh, I just got out of the shower. He's like, you got to give me a few minutes to get dressed and come down. I said, yeah, I know I'm early. It was like 10 minutes early because traffic was so light. I banked on so much traffic, and it just wasn't there. I zipped right in. See, the first time, it took forever because there was a freaking ball game. And he lives not too far away from Fenway Park. So, because she's at Berkeley, which is in the Fenway. And that's pretty much, it's at Back Bay, Fenway, right at that, juncture. And, and then when I dropped them off, the game had just gotten out. It's like state troopers everywhere, directing traffic. It's totally ballistic. So this time they were away. So I didn't have to fight traffic for that, and then, dropping them off. But you still, even without a game, once you get past about 2:30, 3 o'clock, that Jamaica way, it gets a little packed. Hello, Montreal. What's up, GNN? Extra points for anyone knows that tune. I thought the big dig was supposed to solve all the traffic problems. You know what? It actually did. If you ever remember the old Central Artery, it was like the worst planned system out. It was just like ridiculously awful. You had to, two major lanes of traffic had to cut across each other. There were people coming down from Route 1 over the Tobin Bridge who wanted to get down Estero Drive, and people coming down the expressway, and it all met up in the so-called Central Artery. There were accidents there like almost nonstop as people tried to work their way over in a very short period of time from the far left to the far right. It was just a zoo. And it absolutely helped the traffic in the city. But the other good thing they did was they just cut down the number of off-ramps. Believe it or not, that makes a huge difference. And they extended the length of the off-ramps so that more cars can sit on the ramp waiting for a light at the end of it and not back up down into the actual highway. It's the little things. We got a John Schofield, man. And then what's the turnaround? It's like... you can play it one of the two ways. Or I bet he plays it like this, because you can almost hear the staccato. You know, it sounds a little tiny bit brighter. Anyway. Time to change to the big white jazz box. You know what I got? The only other guitar in arm's length is that Dan Electro. I could grab that if you want. Go down for the Dan Electro. What's up, Bridgewater? Hey, what's up, Mr. Bissy? Good to see you, buddy. Show us the unknown chord. Congrats on 60,000 subscribers. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. We're getting there, little by little. Little by little. Lick it up by kiss, that's up. On your EVH stealth copy, do you find the upper horn is off? Yeah, well, the whole body is off a little bit because it doesn't curve at the bottom. It's actually round on the bottom. Right? In other words, it's not quite the same angle. The whole cut is off. The whole cut is off. But, you know, I tend not to complain about guitars that sell for like $135. So, yeah, the cut was off, but, you know, I can live. I think with shipping, that thing was like $235, and shipping is, or maybe it was $255. That sounds about right. So it must have been $170 something because it's about $80 to ship it. You know, but that's 8 years ago now. It's been a bit. So it's going by a little fast here. Hold on. A bit late to the party. You going through the H and K tonight? No, I'm not. I'm going through TH3. I put the Hughes and Kettner on for a little bit of ambiance. Just to, you know, it looked a little dead back there without the lights on, and I decided to just light her up. And besides, it's like 50 degrees out. Wouldn't mind to have a little bit of warmth down here. Flip side here. Did I just see flip side go by? Now I have to reach out here and scroll back. Was it Flippy? Oh, it was. Flippity doodah. Look at that. We missed you. We missed you out in Dallas, bro. What happened? We were supposed to. We were supposed to hang. Are you going to Nashville? Are you definitely going to Nashville? Now I'm worried you're gonna bail out of Nashville. Waffle House, bro. Waffle House. Yeah, this is a lawsuit. I mean, as though it's technically it's like that in between lawsuit, right? It's like second tier, not quite the full on lawsuit with the diamond and everything. When you're watching Martin Miller playing and thinking, "My God, this guy is good." Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. You're like, wow, that's nice. Where did you get your Harley strap? Someone was asking me about that recently. I felt bad. I think a woman was asking me. That is a weird. It was just too long to write back in a very long email. That's a weird strap. Okay, that strap was found at a friend of mine's who's a wholesaler. Right, he does a lot of different wholesale stuff, and at some point he had come across that strap, and I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe that strap is a factory second, and here's why. It looks to have been a strap run done for the Harley-Davidson Motor Group, right? So when the Harley-Davidson was getting into merchandising, maybe. For all I know, this is just a knockoff that someone did and thought was cool and just threw Harley-Davidson on there. But it had a Harley-Davidson logo on there, and I don't think you can just throw a logo up like that, right, without some trouble. It feels like Harley-Davidson was probably involved. The problem is that the stitching went halfway over the logo, like it was a factory second. In other words, they screwed up the run. They have to move the graphic along the strap where the strap is stamped out to another portion so that the words Harley-Davidson aren't halfway covered with the leather tab at the end of the strap, or whatever the hell that was. It was something at the very end of that strap. So I wound up just getting the strap for free, which was broken. It didn't have the bottom part on it. I wound up taking an Ernie Ball nylon strap, and my mother, who's really good at sewing, has a killer sewing machine, and she was able to nylon stitch it, to really reinforce it. And so I permanently affixed. I had to cut the Ernie Ball open, loop it through, and permanently affix it on that new strap. But now it's fully adjustable, and it's sort of like a grafted strap with the old. See, I told you it was a long story. See, this is why I didn't reply to that email. Because it's like, how much time do you have? Get a cup of coffee, because so it's just this weird strap that's admittedly it's cool, right? Isn't it like a bolt of lightning striking an eagle, clawing a Harley V twin? I mean, pretty cool. But I swear, I think it's a factory second, and who knows how old that strap is. That strap could be from the 90s. Could even be from the 80s, though I doubt it. I don't know that Harley-Davidson was doing as much merch then, and where they were branching out and becoming more of like a lifestyle brand, which is scary to say after what happened with Gibson. Do you want a Harley-Davidson? No, I've never owned a bike other than mini bikes, right? Honda 50, little, Briggs and Stratton, Tecumseh, various different. Vertical motor, with a straight up clutch, a mini bike, a straight up mini bike with a centrifugal clutch. Hagstrom uses composite fingerboards as well. Okay, didn't know that. I know that Dean did it once. Dean had a composite fingerboard one time on one of their guitars. We had it in the store. What's up, Thailand? What's up, Humphrey from Thailand? Max? What's up, buddy? Just got a cup of coffee and a couple of 7-layer cookies. Oh, you one up me. I have a cup of coffee. I made this seconds before this started. I was like, damn it, I'm getting another coffee. Playing my favorite song by Montrose, Rock the Nation. Sorry, I don't know it. Sorry, off the top of my head. It's funny, they sent me a big list of tunes. I think I recognize 2 songs on the entire list. Man. It's like, they're like Adele and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know any of those tunes. I recognize like an AC/DC song and one other tune, so we'll see. Maybe someone will know Chank, right? Something easy. What's up, Sal? The white hollow body in the back here is the one that used to be on the wall over about right there. That's the Thomann Harley Benton Big Tone? Is that what they call it? A big tone? It's basically their version of like a Gretsch White Falcon. But not, not nearly as expensive. I mean, we're talking about a guitar that sells for like, what, $299? Something like that. Thoughts on playing a 3/4 electric guitars like a Lotus for a living and stage playing? I don't know if I'd do a 3/4 like the Lotus. Well, geez, I was pointing to it, and it's not up there anymore. Now it's over there. I think the Lotus might have a little bit of a tuning stability. They're not the most stable guitar. They're a bit more of a novelty. I would say the one that's more eye-catching, that's a tiny bit longer scale, but it's a legit, like, straight up, we are making a small scale guitar, and that's that new Billy Corgan Turs from Reverend Guitars. That guitar has always intrigued me because it's it's the same scale as the Lotus, slightly longer, but it's tuned the same way, right? It's tuned to G. That's tuned to G as well. So I don't know. I just find that comparing the two, it feels like the Reverend is a lot more modern. Everything about it from head to toe is of better quality. It's not going to be nearly as cheap as one of those. I mean, from what I understand, those Lotus can run anywhere between like $75 and like $300. The Turs is going to be closer to like what, $7 or $8 or $9 or $1,000. I have no idea what they sell for, but they're, it's not $150 to $300. Have you seen the cardboard set? Yeah, I watched that video. In fact, I posted it on my Facebook page when it first. I think I was calling it Tone Cardboard. Anyone know what's wrong with my CTS plot? I rolled the volume to 0 and it still sounds, you got a leak. So it works by a wiper and it sounds like you're not getting enough resistance at 0. At 0 you should have 100% resistance, and so it can't. And then as you go back, the resistor between the 2 points, it gets shorter and shorter, right? And eventually it's just a complete, so it sounds to me like you got a bad pot. It's what we call a leaky pot. Steve, what's TH3 cost to say? I think the list is $299, but when it goes on sale, I think the cheapest I've seen it is $179. So maybe just keep an eye out for the sale. That's the price you want to target. You want to target $179 on the product. That's where you want to hit, if you can. Anything $179 US dollars and under is a good place to be. Sometimes they'll do a $199, but I think the straight up regular price is $299. I would not pay $299 just because I know they put it on sale. Just bide your time and buy it on sale. It's the same. You're literally just saving money by waiting for it to go on sale. So unless you have an emergency need for software for like a gig or something, I would hold out until you can get it for like $179 or below that. That seems to be their best sale price or close to it. Hey, it's Kurt. See, earlier I was saying Kurt. And he just showed. See, I told you, people were like, who's Kurt? There he is. A good place to get TH3. I don't think can you get it from anywhere other than Overloud? That's where I got mine. Are they? I mean, are they on the shelf? Are they an on the shelf product? I thought they were a straight up buy it from them product, but I could be wrong. I don't know that you're going to get it cheaper than you're going to get it from them when they put it on sale. So I'd be careful about walking into a Guitar Center and buying it if they have an on the shelf product. And again, the price you're looking at Target is $179. If they have it on the shelf at Guitar Center for $179 and it's an on the shelf product, yeah, sure. But if it's $299 or $279 or $249, I'd hold out and get it directly from Overloud for $179 or even maybe less. That's my advice. That's my advice, Marty. Yep, Hughes and Kittner is lit for visual. Just to lend a certain ambiance. What's up, Boogie Woogie Creep? Nice to see you. Steve, what's your favorite guitar in your collection? I don't know that I have a favorite. I'm really digging this one right now. It's trying to name a favorite food or a favorite band or a favorite movie. It's whatever you're in the mood for. I don't know that I have a favorite. Okay, it's official. The Box 100 is the Katana. 100 is killer. Just unboxed and noodled. Nice. Yeah, I tell you, I hear nothing but good things. I haven't heard too many people saying, "Oh, I got the Katana," and maybe for the 50 or the smaller one they weren't happy with it, but I think for the 100, I hear nothing but glowing reviews. What's up, Bez boy? All right, Toledo Police. That's right. Steve, have you ever eaten a Wahlburger? I haven't, and if I'm going to have one, I'm probably going to have it at the airport. That seems to be the one I run into the most. I haven't been down in Hingham in a while. The main Wahlburgers in Hingham, right? That's a fairly affluent community. That's where Zildjian's from. Guy I went to college with lived on the same street. I remember we were driving down there saying looks like Brian comes from a bit of money. Should I get a 76 Ibanez lawsuit Les Paul 251 Super 70 so 570? If it's in good shape, that doesn't sound like an outrageous price for me. 570. That doesn't sound too crazy. If it's in really good condition, I wouldn't say that's crazy. I wouldn't say it's crazy cheap. You're not stealing it, but you're not overpaying. I don't think that's very expensive. Ever played Dark Souls? No, I can't. I am at the Dallas Guitar Show. Some of the young dudes were naming all these bands. So what about this band? I'm like, don't know them. Sorry, guys. I know it's lame, but Steve, can you tell me what the neck profile is on the gold top Harley Benton that you have with the P90s? Yeah, it's like a 50s. It's a slightly thicker. I wouldn't quite call it 60s. 60s feels a tiny bit slimmer. I wouldn't quite say it's as jumbo as the 50s, but it's up there. It's not a wizard thin neck. This is definitely a thinner neck on this guitar. So it's a vintage feel. I think it's a 50s style that they're going for with the P90s, right? That's the whole vibe, 50s. So you're getting the 50s neck. So it's going to be slightly chunky. In fact, I didn't even realize it until I went to another guitar and then back to it. I was like, oh, actually, wow, this neck has got some girth to it. Again, it's all relative, right? It's like you play an Ibanez wizard neck for a couple of weeks. Every neck feels like a baseball bat. I remember having, I don't have it up on the wall right now, but I had a Fender Mexi like Players Strat that I thought the neck was a little chunky. And then I played that Lotus for about a week, which has believe it or not, a kind of a chunky neck. When I went back to it, I was like, wow, this neck's actually really slim. But again, it's all relative. It's all friggin' relative. What's up, John? 8:30. Man, this night is flying by. Is it me? Damn, I can't believe it's 8:30. Favorite neck so far is the Charvel. So that's a good neck. I'm with you on that one. I like the Charvel. I would say one of the nicest necks I ever had was on that Strat I traded for the Les Paul. Really like the neck on it. Wasn't as crazy about the pickups, but you can change the pickups. Wasn't crazy about those select pickups. I really wish they used like Custom Shop or something like that, but whatever. That you can change. But the neck on it was amazing. It was a really, really comfortable neck. Very smooth, very silky. Would you be interested in an Ibanez Geo with locking tuners? You can have 50 small things out there. No, I'm not buying guitars right now. I'm in a lockdown for purchases. But thanks. Well, this Steve's 80 tones, so I make your videos, everything with 60s to modern music. I need something, a lot of great tones. Well, I'm playing this one right now, but I think TH3 does pretty good. I think it does all right. Hey, thanks, Bubba. Much appreciated, buddy. I see. I think I got like a contemporary blues. Steve picked up an Avid 11 rack for $100. Good deal. That is a good deal. I usually see them around $250 to $350. So $100 is really good. Especially, I don't know how they work, but can you update the firmware? Can you just go online and, if you have to do a firmware update it to like whatever the latest firmware is, even if it's, what hasn't been developed in 2 years. If it's newer than the one you have in there, maybe you'll get some more functionality out of it. I find that when you can get them for really short money, the people who owned them never really did much with them. So a lot of times they need updates. Bubba, man, hey, thanks, buddy. Steve, love your Sterling Ernie Ball music. I love Sterling Ernie Ball Music Man necks and sizes. Is it true there are no other guitars like them? I don't know that that's true. But I tell you, I've played Ernie Balls, and I really like the shape and the feel of their necks. I think they make a really high quality product, and I think that they're worthy of all the accolades they've been getting. It really feels like, I want to say in the last 10 years, they've really taken off I always remember Music Man as a bass company, not so much as a guitar company. And then really it started with maybe the EVH deal that kind of put them on the map for me. And pretty much ever since then, paid more attention to Music Man. But I like Music Man. They make a quality product, and I've spent more time at their booth the last couple of years than I have in prior years. And I'm always impressed with their stuff. Some of those flame necks, man, pick those things up. They're as good as any product out there on the market. What you realize is that they're all, just about every brand out there that is doing decent business has a decent product, or else they would be out of business already, right? You can only go so long with crap, and eventually you're out. So, the ones that stick around and flourish, like Ernie Ball, they're making good product. It's really that simple. And everyone I've tried, like I said, has been nothing but beautiful. Thoughts on a PV Bandit 112? I don't think I've ever played one PV Bandit 112. I don't think so. I might have been a 212. Did I have a 212 at one point? It was noisy as hell. It's like when you turn the gain up. What's that shirt you're wearing? Is it Dallas Guitar Show shirt? Yeah, this is one of the shirts from the Dallas Guitar Show. Right there. Very cool. $25. And it's a Gildan, I mean, if you're going 25, can we get a Fruit of the Loom or a or Haynes Beefy Tea? Just saying. Yeah, Music Man is expensive. But again, it's all relative. If that's what you like and that's what you want, then it's cheap, right? What's up, Johnny? Maybe we'll find a... It's a little bright. Yeah, I think KFA has it right. He says it's pretty hard to buy a truly bad guitar these days. All the major builders have refined production lines, except for Gibson, of course. And most of their products are quite good. That's a very true statement. I completely agree with it. It's like, it used to be that you went to the places that had the best craftsmen, and it really was, I get what you pay for. But now with the advent of the CNCs that can, cut within the quarter of a width of a human hair, the production is down. They have that down. What am I looking for? Let's find a good one here. You know what? Let me just switch over to something here. Just to have a little bit of fun. I got an email from the guy who did the software, the Blue Cat Axiom, and he said, I think your input is too hot. I'm hearing clipping on the input, and he was right. The same thing with the other one there. They didn't send me an email, but I tried the same thing with Helix Native, and it was the same thing. The Helix Native, I just had the input running like ridiculously hot. So let me see if I can call up. So it's still distorting, but it's not the same as it was before. It's definitely not. It doesn't have that fuzz, that fizz that was happening, I think, that we were getting when I had the input. And just looking at it, it's still, the master is almost to zero. So I just think it sounds better. I just think I probably had the input way too hot on it. But see, that's it's because it's what I know. Like the problem with TH3 is that when you don't really fully drive the beginning of it, it sounds a little weak. So it's just getting used to. I'm so used to working with TH3. I probably just had the front end on. Yeah, here's the Blue Cat Audio one too. Let me just bring this up. Where is it? Again, it's plenty loud, but it's way down from where I had it the first time I used it. The other one I was playing the other day. Like, see, that sounds more like TH3. I wasn't getting the sound out of it the other day. The last live show. And again, I think I just had the input way too hot. So apologies to Blue Cat and to, Line 6. I got to give me a mulligan on that one, guys. And now I'm back to, maybe? No? Yep. Is it 2 instances open now? Did I accidentally open it up twice? No, I didn't. And then that's the one I normally use. Steve, isn't there a guitar show coming to the East Coast? I think I just missed it. That's the Northeast Guitar Show. There could be some in New York I don't know about, but the big one out here I think happened a few weeks ago. And I think it happened in April. I think that's the Northeast Guitar Show. That's just held in a ballroom in a hotel. I got to say the Dallas Guitar Show was pretty good size. It wasn't too big. It was pretty large place. I don't know. I've never been to it. I don't know what they do there. It sounds like something. I'd have to drive there. It'd be like a 3-hour drive. You ever play locally in your area? No, not really. What's the yellow Ibanez RG right here? That's just your typical Ibanez RG 550. I think that's a 90 or a 91. Something like that. Instead of heating up over there in Boston. Yeah, it's back to cool again, but we had a couple of, days in the 90s last week. And then, we're back to cool again, and now they say, we might see it might warm up again this week. So this is that time where it just oscillates, right? Cool air, hot air, and back and forth, and then eventually it'll just be all hot, and summer will be here. Am I the original owner of the RG? No, not this one. I do have one somewhere over there, down there, right there. I'm pointing at it. That one I bought originally off the shelf. That's an 88. Yeah, time notice 8:45, man. Where'd the time go? I'm seeing stuff here, but it appears to be comments amongst yourselves. Yeah, no, we were raining here for quite a bit. Ooh, I'm hearing movement up there. Someone's going somewhere to do something. I got a favorite delay. Yeah, well, the one I like in TH3 is the D dash delay, which looks like a Boss pedal. Basically, looks like a DD3. That's the one I like, and I always run it in stereo. And I set up a tiny bit of spread every time. It's funny because when I go to mono delays, you miss it. You miss that spread. You're like, that's a big part of the sound. Obviously when you're playing solo, it is, but when you're playing like in a mix, you never lay that stuff down. That's always after the fact, and you think about it because it just gets too muddied, too reverbed. You lay that stuff down dry, and then you can add all the effects you want after that, Most expensive guitar I own. Is it still the acoustic? It might be the Les Paul. Like in terms of not what I paid for it, but because I traded a guitar, I paid about $1,200 for. I paid $1,200 for the Strat, and I traded up for the Les Paul. But the Les Paul new, I think, goes around $2,000. The acoustic, I thought, was around $1,700. I try to keep guitars as cheap as possible. So I don't have very many expensive ones. I think I paid the most expensive. Well, the Tele was $1,450, $1,550 with $1,600 with tax, somewhere around there. Yeah, it's probably the LP just in terms of value. I'd probably get more for that LP than I would for the Larrivee acoustic, that's for sure. I'm going with the LP at this point. Finally, a time to sit on a show. Glad I did. Oh, great, man. I'm glad you were able to check it out and enjoyed it. Been here since the first day you played the Iwi. I think I got to bring the Iwi back like every April 1st. Doesn't that have to be like an annual thing? Annual Iwi Day? Steve, I got a great deal on a frame of some guitars tonight. As a Floyd, thing is, though, I get an annoying buzz ringing when I play an open B string. And it's only on the open B string? That sounds to me like a... and where's the buzz coming from? Is it coming from the nut? Is it coming from the bridge? Is it coming from the neck itself? It could be that the truss rod might be a tiny bit loose sometimes, You can tap it, you feel it's like a little bit loose. But normally when it's a buzz, it's because the string isn't sitting in the saddle or in the nut correctly. Right? Usually, but see, that's where I'm screwed up with Floyd Rose. Because a Floyd Rose is a clamp. So there is no nut buzzing, right? Make sure that nut is clamped down really well, and make sure there's not a groove in the bottom of the plate that maybe you're sitting up into. If you can just turn it 1/4 turn, or reverse it and see if that makes a difference, right? Turn it 180 degrees. Yeah, that's a little weird. The only other thing I can think of is like there's some sympathetic component on there that's rattling. Because, Floyds are clamped at two ends. It's like, where's the buzz coming from if it's, right, on an open string? Right? If it's a fretted string, I'm saying it's coming from one of your frets. But if it's an open string, that's like a whole other thing, because now you're saying, well, it's clamped there and it's clamped here. So where is it coming from again? Again, that's why I'm thinking, like, is the truss rod just a little loose and rattling a little bit? Just take a tiny little turn to tighten it up? I don't know. Thoughts on Kemper? Kemper's a killer. Kemper and the Axe FX are both amazing. I've heard nothing but glowing reviews from everybody I know who owns both. So, and it's so funny because you like, you see so many of my friends, and I know they, they have all these amps behind them or whatever. But then you find out, yeah, they plugged just straight into a Kemper or straight into an Axe FX because they're getting their best tone direct to the camera that way. And they don't even have to think about it. They don't have to mic anything up. It's all just a killer direct tone. So, and people don't even realize it. They're like, what are you running through? It sounds great. Refrigerator door fell off today. Any advice? Yeah, you need a new fridge, bro. I hate that. Plastic tuner knob buzzing lately? Oh, that'd make me mental. It's 8:51, guys. I think we might be wrapping this up. Stay tuned for, more stuff with Thomann next week. And, we'll figure it out. I'll get back and I'll have videos for the next 6 months. Putting out one every 30 days. I don't know. I'll figure it out. It's like so many videos and so little time to edit and throw them up. If you use some form. Your favorite fuzz is the fuzz face? Oh, yeah? I'll check it out. I must have played a fuzz face. That sounds so familiar. I must have played one at one time. Thanks, Gary. Much appreciated. In the blues, I don't know if you're still here. Thanks so much, buddy. I will have a good trip. Keep you posted. And I'm streaming now with a Logitech. I think it's with the C920. The popular one is. All right, dudes, we're going to wrap this one up. Oh, sorry, Doug. But we're just about wrapping this one up, buddy. Thanks, guys. Getting a lot of love. I love the love. Thanks, guys. It's awesome. Have a good one. All right. I'm reaching for the mouse. And I'm off. We're gonna be wrapping it up. We are at an hour and 51 minutes. So we had a good run. We peaked out at 4:30. That's awesome. That's fantastic. I really appreciate it. All right, to everyone who contributed tonight, super thanks. Much, much appreciated. To everyone who came and hung out, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for hanging out, stopping by, shooting the breeze. I had a blast tonight. I thought it went by really fast. I can't believe it's 8:54 already. Wow. All right. Cool. Well, I will see you guys when I get back from Deutschland. I think I'm back on the 22nd or the 23rd, about 10, 11 days from now. And I'll let you know how it went. Should be cool. All right. As always, no, you rock. And, time for another coffee. And as always, didn't I just say that? Rock on.